Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Advanced Bible Study night. We'll be reading out of the book of Samuel. Find out a little more about David. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening, check out our videos. We have over 900 or so videos with all types of information in it. You can rightly divide it, check it out. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And we, like I said, we're on Thursday nights. On Tuesday through Thursday from 8 to 9 on Prophets of Awakening channel. From 7 to 9 Central Time p.m. Then we come back on Fridays for our Men's Advanced Bible Study. That's on from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time, but we on Clubhouse. And the channel is Non-Messianic Conversations. Then we come on Saturdays. We have 2 Shabbats, a morning Shabbat class from 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. Then we close the Sabbath out on from 6 to 7 in the evening, p.m. Okay, so with that being said, this is a non-Messianic channel. By that I mean we deal with the Tanakh, so-called Book of Remembrance, the Old Testament, and the Torah, first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. It consists of our laws, our statutes, our way of life, and the judgments that we are supposed to perform. Okay. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer. We read the Psalms, and then we'll do some current events with a little need-to-know information in it. Then we'll open up our Q&A for a little dialogue. Then we go into our topic. We'll be reading out of 2 Samuel, breaking it down, rightly dividing it. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts, and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we come this day, bow down, honoring you and praising you and believing in you. We thank you for your wisdom and your knowledge that you have poured out upon us. And through your prophets, you have revealed the times that we, as Jacob's children, are willing to do. Keep us, O Lord, and guide us and deliver us. We see you now within the Holy Scriptures, in the Tanakh. O Lord, we trust you. O Lord, we with all our heart and all our soul. Keep not that silence any longer, but shine forth on our enemies with thy great power and thy great glory. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to read the Psalms. Okay. I'll read Psalms 108. It's Israel looks to God for help. It's a Psalm of David. O God, my heart is fixed. I will sing and give praise, even with my glory. Awake, pastries and harp. I myself will awake early. I will praise thee, O Lord, among the people, and I will sing praises unto thee among the nations. For thy mercy is great above the heavens, and thy truth reaches unto the clouds. Be thou exalted, O God, above the heavens, and thy glory above the earth, that thy beloved may be delivered. Save with thy right hand, and answer me. God hath spoken in his holiness. I will rejoice. I will divide Shechem, and I will mete out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is the strength of my hand. Judah is my lawgiver. Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. O Philistine, Philister will I triumph. Who will bring me into the strong city, and who will lead me into Edom? Without not, O God, who has cast us off, and will not thou, O God, go forth with our host. Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Through God we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies. Okay, so this is a Psalm of David, shining a light on the fact that the Lord alone is who we look for help. Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. So with that being said, we're going to some current events.
And you need to brace now, because according to reports, this is going to break millions and millions of Americans. And all this stuff is happening at the worst possible time. But I'm going to break down what is going on, how it's going to impact your wallet, and why your personal finances are at risk. So make sure you stick around for this entire video, and also share this video with your friends and family over on Facebook, so they too know exactly what is going on. All I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So why are experts telling us to brace now? Well, it has to do with rising gas prices. Just look at this. This is an article from Bloomberg, and it says the odds of $100 oil are rising as supply shocks convulse the market. That is concerning. But the real reason why it's concerning is because the last time we saw oil prices at $100 per barrel, well, what were gas prices? What was inflation? That's the real question. And that's what I want to go through today. Just look at this. This is the last time. Okay, this is a historical chart of per barrel oil prices. Okay, so you can see right now, this is April 2024, and this says it's $86.91. Okay, now the month isn't over, but again, that's where it's at. If we go back to September 2023, it's $91.52. Still not $100. We would have to go all the way back right here to July 2022. But do you know when we had the highest gas prices on record? Well, it was, and let me show you this, it was on June 14th, 2022. That's when we saw the highest gas prices on record. The national average in the United States was $5.01. At that time, people were having to work extra hours at their job in order just to get there because gas prices were so expensive. I remember some people were telling me back then that they were trying to carpool to work in order to save money on gas. Others would call in sick if they could not get to work by a carpool, because if they had to drive their own car potentially an hour or more to get to work, well, as they put it, it wasn't worth it. So they didn't go. The economy was, again, struggling back then because prices were just going sky high. Eggs expensive, ham expensive, beef expensive, right? Cars expensive, houses expensive. Well, guess what? Prices are not looking much better at this time unless you are a used car. Used cars are coming down. They're about to plummet. But here's the real concern. It does not look like the Fed is going to cut rates. I want to show you this. This is an article from CNBC's Mad Money where Jim Cramer says the economy is strong, so don't hold your breath for the Fed rate cut. Here's what I can tell you. Right now, that the rates are what they are. The expectation is that we may not see the Federal Reserve cut rates, because why would they? If we are currently seeing gas prices are potentially going to go up to $100 per barrel, we are seeing inflation, and I'll show you the chart again just so you have an idea. Here it is. Okay, here's inflation right here. We have it was 3.1% in January, 3.2% in February, and then in just 2 days on April 10th, we are going to get the March inflation report. If this comes higher, potentially 3.4 to 3.5%, well, that's scary because now we're going up. And if we see inflation's going up, the last thing that the Federal Reserve can do is cut rates and push them down. Because by pushing rates down, we will see additional spending. This means credit card spending, means more car purchases, more home purchases, and that right there would crush the US if we see inflation start to go back up. Because again, the Federal Reserve wants it to be at just 2%. Well, we're a little ways away from that. We're at 3.2% today. That could get worse, but I want to show you that.
Okay. Calling all inconsistent trade.
Anybody have comments on that? Okay. Got another one right here.
Every year, we're constantly hit with the bittersweet reality of our favorite grocery items disappearing from store shelves. However, it's always an exciting moment when new versions of our beloved snacks hit the market. But on the flip side, there's nothing quite as disheartening as discovering that our go-to treats have been discontinued for good. Over the past year, we've witnessed a wave of items vanish from grocery stores, leaving loyal fans searching in vain for their favorite products. As the year unfolds, it's crucial to stay informed about potential food shortages. That's why today, we've compiled a list of 20 common grocery items that might become harder to find in your local supermarket. So grab a pen and paper because you want to make sure you're stocked up on these essentials before they disappear. 1. Rice. A rice shortage continues to grip the world into the first half of 2024, with multiple factors contributing to the scarcity. But the situation is becoming even more dire. The return of El Niño, a weather pattern causing abnormal warming in the Pacific Ocean, has further disrupted weather patterns, exacerbating the challenges faced by rice-growing regions. Meanwhile, experts forecast it will continue even into the second quarter of 2024. At the global level, the most evident impact of the worldwide rice deficit has been and still is decade-high rice prices. Just imagine in Nigeria, the cost of rice increased 61% from September through November. Beyond that, the U.S. Department of Agriculture forecast the nation would import 2.1 million metric tons of rice in 2024. But the rice shortages have been seen in various states. So what do you think about it? 2. Bread. Many bakeries and factories are struggling to obtain the necessary ingredients to make bread, leading to a potential shortage in Q1 2024. Have a look at this. Meat prices and cooking oils are showing signs of a price decline, but the floor price has been increasing. Now you need to understand this. Hard red winter and hard red spring are the two largest classes of wheat grown in the United States, and a year of extreme drought has resulted in a much lower yield, so much lower that analysts are anticipating wide-scale supply chain shortages and price gouging. Meanwhile, according to USDA's most recent National Seeding Scorecard report, Kansas, Texas, Colorado, Nebraska, Montana, and South Dakota were labeled on the drought monitor map, and looking at it, it's not suitable for the floor price. 3. Sunflower and palm oil. As a lover of palm oil, I found this very disturbing, but here's why. The Brookings Institution in 2020 said that 52% of globally traded sunflower seed and oil came from Ukraine. And of course, the war between Russia and Ukraine has affected the supply chain, not only in America, but in the world globally. Currently, edible oil supply chains are disrupted, and edible oil prices have increased even higher than cereal prices. Now, the issue was more complicated when a report from MASH surfaced. You see, there's a shortage of palm oil in Indonesia. Since Indonesia is the largest palm oil producer, any supply chain issue only adds to the problem. Well, we hope palm oil will not be very scarce for some of us who love cooking. 4. Champagne. This is a big issue for champagne, and for its fans, it's not a good sign. According to MASH, climate change has dramatically impacted the production of champagne. So what does it mean? For this year, you'll probably not have easy access to champagne. However, the publication wrote that a rash of extreme weather that in 2021 has resulted in a devastating number of crops growing fungus even into 2024, leading to a smaller than average crop yield. 5. Beers, canned food, and pet food. The ongoing aluminum shortage has impacted our daily lives for quite some time now. As reported by Click Orlando, this shortage, which first surfaced in 2020, continues to cast its shadow over various sectors in 2024, affecting everything from your favorite brews to the canned goods lining your pantry shelves and even your furry friends' meals. And what's causing this shortage? Well, according to recent updates from the television station, a perfect storm of factors is at play. Labor shortages, the lingering effects of the pandemic, supply chain disruptions, and surging demand are all contributing to this aluminum conundrum. But when can we expect some relief? That's the million-dollar question. Vincent Meadows, a leading authority in the field, remains cautiously optimistic. 6. Maple Cheerios. Despite the potential risks at hand, we love a crunchy bowl of breakfast cereal now and then. This is especially true regarding Cheerios, which are simple, slightly sweet, and so easy to munch on. Plus, they come in a few different flavors. Shout out for Honey Nut Cheerios. Unfortunately, though, the beloved maple flavor, which fans would look forward to every fall, has been recently discontinued. Maple Cheerios is discontinued. The best. Bring them back. One fan begged. We'll keep our fingers crossed. 7. Corn. Another produce item that you might see less of this year is corn. According to insights from Eat This, Not That, several key corn-producing states, including Illinois, Indiana.
Okay.
If you had a choice, would you rather pay $12 for this cheese grater on Amazon or pay
Any comments on that so far? Okay.
Dakota were facing disappointing yields compared to the previous year, and this shortfall could have ripple effects on corn availability nationwide. While the United States reigns as the world's top corn producer, challenges abound. Limited exports from other major corn-producing nations like Brazil and Ukraine during this growing season have only compounded the issue. 8. Oranges and orange juice. Among the hardest hit casualties in September 2022, Hurricane Ian were Florida's beloved orange trees. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the devastation wrought by Hurricane Ian is expected to slash Florida's orange production for the 2022-2024 growing season. Now that's a steep drop, down to just 20 million boxes of oranges. That's the state's lowest output since the 1936-1937 season. But the challenges facing Florida's citrus industry doesn't end with hurricanes. The sinister foe known as citrus greening has been wreaking havoc on the state's crops for years. This insidious disease, which attacks the tree's vascular system, has ravaged orchards across Florida, further compounding the woes of citrus growers. 9. Beef. If 2023 wasn't challenging enough, packers could face an even meatier challenge in 2024. Why? Well, according to industry insiders, U.S. cow-calf producers are continuing to shrink their herds, posing a potential hurdle for beef production. To shed light on the situation, Wesley Batista-Philholm, director of the U.S. Beef Division, shared insights with analysts. For the U.S. Beef Division, the shortage of cattle for slaughtering will remain a challenge in the fourth quarter and into 2024. What do the numbers say? According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture's forecast released last November 2024, U.S. beef production is projected to reach 25,810 billion pounds. That's a decrease of 1.122 billion pounds, or 4.2%, from the estimated output of 26,932 billion pounds in 2023. 10.
Okay.
Olive oil. During 2023, the global price of olive oil soared to a 26-year high, skyrocketing threefold over the past 2 years, as reported by the European Commission. What's behind this dramatic surge in prices? Well, it's a perfect storm of factors, including supply shortages in Europe stemming from a cocktail of disasters, droughts, wildfires, and the rampant spread of the notorious bacteria Xylella fastidiosa. This bacteria has wreaked havoc on olive groves, causing a 50 to 70% reduction in olive oil production since its emergence. And unfortunately, experts warn that this problem's here to stay, likely extending beyond 2024. Restaurants, in particular, feeling the squeeze as they grapple with whether to absorb these additional costs or pass them along to their customers. 11.
Okay. So there was 20 products that was on the list. I just played the first 10, but you got sugar included in that, pasta. So from listening to this, you can see that our supplies are being reduced or being scaled back. So it's advice is to start trying to stock up some of it. You know, like the guy was saying, the things that you know you like and the things you know you need, just get a little more than what you normally get. Try to start building it up because it's not going to go up; it's going to constantly go down. Any comments on that?
Shalom. And I feel that even though all this is going on, one needs to learn how to, you know, make those certain things. I don't know the rest of the list, but if it is bread or what have you, start making things from scratch so you could, you know, purchase or make your own instead of waiting or fighting over some pasta and things like that. Because as you see the ingredients, you purchase those ingredients, it's not going to be as much. But no one wants to start from scratch and making things, so it's going to cost you if you have to get it already, pre-made.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a good thing to do is start a garden. Like I said, the small things like tomatoes and you know, tomatoes, onions, potatoes, all that. It's nothing to do. You have that, you know, on hand. Maybe get help on your budget.
Hmm. Yes, shalom. Um, they also are saying that in your small gardens, your uh, personal gardens that you have, some places are regulating how much you can grow in those in your own backyard. How
Exactly.
Yeah, so by that, learn those ones because there are um, vegetables that you can grow indoors, you know,
Right.
and then just basically those root crops, and you just have to be more clever about it, and before they really get to your state or your city or your little town, start, like you said, do those vegetables and get your body to that point where what is really needed. Don't go and try to
be a farmer and grow all things, but get the ones that's going to give you that vitamin A and C and B and things like that to sustain you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Um, yeah. Anybody else got any comments on that?
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Um, I was thinking about what you were saying, Brother Leonard, and I've been doing some research on this. I have not shared it yet because it was really kind of new to me. Is that you can freeze your fresh herbs that you grow, so it won't go to waste. It's a lot of things that you can freeze and preserve from when you need it. So I was looking at one video where a lady was doing it in ice trays. She was taking
Right.
her herbs, yeah, and freezing them in ice trays and then taking them out and, putting them in Ziploc bags or whatever. So it's a lot of ways out there that you can use your natural herbs. And like you said, freezing like your greens, your cabbage, things like that. So I'm doing some research on that and hopefully share it soon.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shalom. I just want to say an extra in that too. If we do the freeze dry, um, like one would do jerky or whatever, you can do it with your potatoes and slice them up. And once you add water to those potatoes and things that you dehydrate, you
Right.
can dehydrate a lot of food. And that's what they put in those packets that there's those patriots. They're having those 7 year. You can those potatoes and all of those things. Like that's what they did. They took and
Right,
dehydrated all these foods and selling it to people, and it does last 7, 10 years. So they put that in there for people to purchase it when they can start doing it themselves. And once this hit, those dehydrating um, machines or whatever that makes it dehydrate, the cost of those things are going to go up after a while when someone starts to, like they say, save food, do this here. The panic going to come again, and then they will raise those prices on items that would help you dehydrate your food and preserve your foods. But those products are going to, go big in price. That's all I have to say. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah. So with this, I got some need to know information there, and this, I don't know if anybody been paying attention to it, but things over there in Israel is escalating to and starting to spread out more and more, and like I said, it don't look good. That's going to affect the food chain too, as far as shipping and what we have access to. But it's all extending out. We'll play a little bit of this and then we'll talk about it.
Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. Colonel Douglas McGregor joins us now. Colonel, it's a pleasure, my dear friend. Welcome back to the show, and thank you for your time. There's a lot that I want to ask you about. I'd like to start with relatively breaking news, maybe 36 hours old, and that is the Israeli assault on and destruction of a consulate adjacent to an embassy of Iran in Damascus, Syria, the motivation behind it, and your view of the likely response to it. So the Israelis have not claimed credit for it, but all indications are that they did this. Why would they do something like this?
Mr. Netanyahu must escalate to survive. And he believes that escalating the war is ultimately Israel's salvation. I don't share that view, but that's his opinion. He probably also sees it as his personal salvation. How do you escalate the war? You goad Iran into attacking you. And this is a direct provocation designed to precipitate a major response from Iran. If Iran cannot be dragged into this war, then it is very unlikely that Mr. Netanyahu will be able to drag us into his war on his side. So simply put, Why would you attack the sovereign territory, which is what a consulate or embassy is, as you know, of Iran? You want Iran to attack you so that you can precipitate a war that will involve the United States against Iran on your side.
If the mullahs do nothing, if they exercise Putin-like restraint, what do you expect Netanyahu to do? Ratchet up the attacks on Iran to do everything he can to goad them?
Yes, I would think so. I mean, there's no alternative for him. He knows that he's got to attack Hezbollah, and that's a foregone conclusion. It's just a question of when. So he's got to drag in Iran into this mess as he sees it. Now, what he's not paying attention to is the coalescing of the rest of the region against him. He's not paying much attention to what's going on up in Turkey, for instance. The Turkish population is enraged at Israel, and the Turkish population just rejected Erdogan at the polls. Now, there were several reasons for that, but one of them was Erdogan's continuous provision of oil and food and other things to the Israelis, despite all of his tough talk. And the Turks really want to go after the Israelis. They want action against them. And the Arabs are looking at the Turks as their leaders because they are the one Sunni Muslim power with real military capability that could defeat Israel, because they know that the neighbors cannot.
If Iran attacks Israel, if Iran engages in a war for Israel, that's not a pinprick tit for tat, but a serious war, wouldn't you expect Russia to come to Iran's side? And wouldn't this effectively, thank you, Prime Minister Netanyahu, commence a regional war, almost World War III?
Well, I think that's true. And, I've been saying that for a long time, and people don't seem to understand or grasp it. You have the failed war that Washington's been waging in Ukraine. Ukraine is destroyed, and we continue to provoke Russia at every opportunity. I think they're talking about stealing $300 billion Russian funds and turning this over to the Ukrainians. The fools on the hill want to do this. This kind of behavior makes it inevitable that if we become involved in a conflict with Iran, that the Russians will come to the aid of Iran. There's no question about it. They've deployed forces down into the Red Sea. Their submarines are already in the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea, and they have forces in the Mediterranean. So it's a foregone conclusion that if Mr. Netanyahu is successful and we are dragged into this, we will end up fighting with the Russians directly.
Talk to me about the rage that you mentioned a few minutes ago, Colonel. Is it of such a magnitude that leaders in the area, Turkey, Iran, Jordan, may feel pressured into doing something lest something happen against their will?
Oh, absolutely. This is already true in Egypt and Jordan. And I would argue Saudi Arabia, the Emirates are all under pressure. The elites in the region are under tremendous pressure. And if they don't act, they all stand an excellent chance of going away. General Sisi has tried, as many others, to be on both sides of the fence. On the one hand, he's tried to speak out against what the Israelis are doing, but he's had to renegotiate his enormous national sovereign debt. He's needed our support for that. He wants to keep the United States on side. How much longer that goes on is hard to tell, because the Russians and the Chinese may well step in and offer to help him, which would then grant him some freedom of maneuver vis-a-vis Israel. Then you have the Jordanians, and the Jordanian king is hanging on, I think, by his fingernails. He's a very competent man. He's a brilliant leader. He has negotiated the troubled waters of the region with great alacrity. I don't think he wants in any way, shape, or form to be at war with Israel, but he has over 1 million, enraged Palestinians who want to attack Israel, and I don't think he's going to have much longer to stave it off. I think he's in a very, very sensitive position.
Everybody.
Okay. As you can see, it's escalating, and like he was saying, they got to find a way to get America involved in it, the same way they did with World War I and II. They had to find a way to pull America into it, on their side. And so Like he said, why would he attack Iran? Because he's trying to pull America into the fight. Because no sooner than they pull America in, Russia already sitting there waiting to come in too. So this thing, understanding that we in the end times and we have to be delivered, so it's not gonna all of a sudden get good. It's just gonna get worse and worse because of where we at in prophecy. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A. So anybody have any questions about something they came across? Something we talked about last week? Clubhouse. Anything they want to get answered? Dialogue.
Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, I have a couple of things. I don't know if you all saw the video today concerning Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right? So now they have set their sight on Kenya, right? They're going through this little trial run for a couple of months where they're going to be putting digital IDs inside the newborn babies. So before the babies leave the hospital, they're going to have a digital ID. It won't be birth certificate anymore. And then by December, they are going to be doing everyone.
Okay.
So they will be doing away with the paper, plastic, your ID cards, whatever. Everything is going to be this digital identification. And the name of this identification is Maisha Nambia. I may be pronouncing that wrong, but it's MAISHANAMBA. And Maisha means alive, livelihood, or one full of life. And that Nambia is a penis sheath worn by tribesmen in parts of the Pacific. So, I'm looking at that as far as our melanin gold, the organs, and all that. If you do research, Kenya has a very high birth rate there,
right,
every year. But then they also have a high rate in infant death there. So I thought about Oprah and the other celebrities that said, and Angela Jolie, I think is her name, that they use, you know, baby things for their skin. So when you have this digital ID, all you got to do now is just scan that barcode and go head on. There's no need for no paperwork or whatever. So I think about they're always doing experiments on us to make billions of dollars. They continue to get rich off of us. But I just wanted to put that out there. I saw a video on that today.
Right. Yeah, I think I did a couple of videos a while back how they've been telling us, and they constantly telling us that the whole, it's gonna the wealth of the world and all that is gonna shift to Africa. We see it already happening, and so they're already trying to get, being that they 25 to 50 years ahead of us, they just position themselves in where they know the wealth is gonna be at. And if you look back, they've been getting into all these different situations with Kenya, or even with the LGBT thing. They've been trying to impose themselves on with that. And not only that, Africa has the biggest population of young folks. It's the youngest planet it is. And we know how they feel about children. So it wouldn't surprise me. Okay.
Shalom.
Yeah.
On that note about the chip going into the babies, it was in 2015 or 13 on TED Talk. Bill Gates said to put the chip in everyone to go along with health problems. And so Dr. Oz in 2020 announced that all you have to do is get this chip placed in your wrist or on your forehead, and you wouldn't have to worry about them knowing your medical history. They'll just scan it. They can tell if you had any operations, anything that concerned with your health. If, and vitamins you're taking, medicine you're taking, you wouldn't have to even speak. They can just scan you, and boom, they'll know everything about you. And as you're saying now, Sister Michelle, that they're doing it on the babies, they have probably already did it on the babies, and they're just seeing that it worked. And like you said, they had a high death rate in the babies. It probably wasn't working as well. And now that it's working, then they announce that it's work, that's what they're doing. And just like you said, Brother Leonard, they're really far advanced in everything they're doing. So we're catching the back in on it. And I don't know if they're going to bring it to America or if they're already doing it. You know, they're slick, conning and everything else.
Anybody else? Yeah, another thing that's lurking in the background, nobody really seemed to pay attention to, and it's like it's moving like 100 miles an hour. Well, that's AI. And the AI is they. I was listening to a guy talking the other day about that AI, saying that the ramifications that it's going to have between now and 2025. And the guy was talking about because of the AI, they're going to try to wrap up the, what they call culling the people, the numbers of people to get rid of, because it's not going to be just losing their job. They want to delete people, get rid of people because they're not going to need them, And so you got a lot of people not paying attention to that. Even we can see it being used right now in Israel with these attacks they're doing on Gaza. They're using AI, and that's where a lot of the pushback is coming from. When talking about genocide, because it's the consistency and accuracy they're using this AI with these military drones and stuff. It speeds it up to how they do that, and it's all over. It's just that like the average person not really paying attention to it, but everything has changed according to AI. Okay, so anybody have comments on that? I advise you to do some research on it. Check it out. Okay, so with that being said, like I said, we're gonna go to Second Samuel, read some chapters out of that, and try to get to know David a little better. Okay, I'm in Second Samuel chapter 1. Okay, let me see, Second Samuel, yeah, chapter 1. Okay. I can start it off. I'll read chapter 1. It says, "Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returning from the slaughter of the Amalekites, that David had abode 2 days in Ziklag. It came even to pass on the third day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent, and the earth was on his head. And so it was when he came to David, that he fell to the earth and did obstinate. And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel I'm escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, that the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people fallen and dead. Saul and Jonathan, his sons, are dead also. And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan, his sons, dead? And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gebo, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariot and the horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me, and he called unto me, and I answered, Here I am. And he said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. And he said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me, for anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood upon him and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen, and took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was on his arm, and I have brought them hither unto my Lord. Then David took hold of his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him, and they mourned, and they wept, and they fasted until evening for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he said, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, How was thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hands to destroy the Lord's anointed? And David called one of his young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died. And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth hath testified against thee, saying, I am slain, the Lord's anointed. And David lamentated with the lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he them bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. And behold, it is written in the books of Jasher, and the beauty of Israel is slain upon thine high places. How are thy mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Ashkelon, and let the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, and let the daughters of thy uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gibor, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, nor fields of offerings, for there the shield of the mighty is vilely cast away, the shield of Saul, all as though he had not been anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their eyes. In their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, and they were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet with other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of a woman. How was the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished. So that was 2 Samuel chapter 1. Anybody have any comments on that? Anything stick out? Familiar with who Jonathan is and who Saul is?
Okay. It's not speaking on Saul who became Paul, is it?
Say it again.
Saul who became Paul, that's not the same person.
No, this the King Saul,
Okay.
the first king of Israel, and Jonathan is his son. So if you don't know the story, Jonathan and David was the best of friends. That was David's best friend. So that's why he's lamentating over him in verses 26. He says, well, 25 and 26, he says, how art the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle, O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thy high place. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love is to me was wonderful, passing the love of a woman. How art the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war are perished. So the lowly Gentile or the Edomite or Christian, they say that there's some kind of debate going on that, you know, Jonathan and David had some kind of love affair going on, but this is a prime example of who we were as a people and how we felt toward our fellow brethren. That's the bond that we had even when we first got here. But these last 400, 500 years and turned us into animals. But this is how we were at first. This how among brethren we felt about each other, how close we were, and it was a bond. So it was that's the reason that the Creator was the Lord of hosts looked down from heaven and saw us as one man, because that's how we perceived ourselves. That's how we carried ourselves as one man. We all work together. So I want to shine a light on something else too that it came up before. Let me get it. It says, I started 17, so I come up on it. Verse 17 says, David lamentated with a lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. So right here, he telling them to teach them the use of the bow because of Saul. I mean, Jonathan was good with the bow. If you go back to when Saul was chasing David, trying to kill him, Jonathan alerted him about Saul was in the vicinity by shooting the bow in the air. A couple of times he shot it. And that was a signal for them to communicate with each other, for Jonathan to let him know that Saul was in the area. So 18, also we bade them teach the children of Judah to use the bow. Behold, it is written in the books of Jasher, the beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? And he said, tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Ashkelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, and let the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gabor, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, for the fields of offerings for the shields of the mighty is very vilely cast away, and the shields of Saul as though he had not been anointed with oil. For the blood of the slain and for the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan, there it is, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles. They were stronger than lions. This is the verse I'm looking for, 24. Ye daughters of Israel, check it out. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul. Now here you go. Who have clothed you in scarlet with other delights, who put on ornaments and gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle, O Jonathan? So that takes you to, and I mentioned this before, so I'm just giving you a precept that you can put your eyes on. Isaiah chapter 3, right? It's the daughters of Zion, right? The judgment on daughters of Zion. Verse 16, Isaiah 3 and 16. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, walk with stretched forth necks, and Wu-Tang eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with the scab of the crown of their head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. In the day that the Lord will take away the bravery of their tingling ornaments about their feet, and their coils, and tire, their round tires like the moon, the chains, the bracelets, the mufflers, the bonnets, the ornaments of the legs, the head bands, the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the wimples, and the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the vials. So while am I reading this? Go back 24. It says, David told them, ye daughters of Israel, weep for Saul. Who clothed you? All those things I just read, the king and the men of Israel got it for him. It says, ye daughters of Israel, okay? It says, ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you, here you go, with scarlet, with other delights. Those other delights is what I just read. And and who put on ornaments of gold and upon your apparel. So to finish that off, how do we take it away from them when they're not obedient? 24. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stench, and instead of a girdle, rent, and instead of a well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomach, a girding and sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Here you go. Same thing we just read. Thy men shall fall by the sword. That's how he take it away, like he just did with Saul. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty men in war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she shall be in desolate, shall sit down on the ground. Okay. Any comments? Okay, so let's go to chapter. Somebody want to read chapter 2?
Two or three, Brother Leonard?
I just read one, didn't I?
Yes, so two. Okay. 2 Samuel chapter 2. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him, go up. And David said, whither shall I go up? And he said unto Hebron. So David went up thither, and his two wives also, Anoam the Jezreelite, and Abigail, Nabal's wife, the Carmelite, and his men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household, and they dwelt in the cities of Hebron. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying, that the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul. And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said unto them, blessed be ye of the Lord, that ye have showed this kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him. And now the Lord showed kindness and truth unto you. And I also will requite you this kindness, because ye have done this thing. 7. Therefore now let your hands be strengthened, and be ye valiant, for your master Saul is dead. And also the house of Judah have anointed me king over them. But Abner, the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim, and made him king over Gilead, and over the Asherites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years. But the house of Judah followed David. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. 12. And Abner the son of Ner and the servants of Ishbosheth the son of Saul went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David went out and met together by the pool of Gibeon. And they sat down, the one on the one side of the pool and the other on the other side of the pool. And Abner said to Joab, "Let the young men now arise and play before us." And Joab said, "Let them arise." Then there arose and went over by number 12 of Benjamin, which pertained to Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, the 12 of the servants of David. And they caught every one his fellow by the head, and thrust his sword in his fellow's side. So they fell down together. Wherefore that place was called Hilkath Hazarim, which is in Gibeon. And there was a very sore battle that day. And Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel before the servants of David. And there were three sons of Zeruiah, there Joab and Abishai and Ashiel, and Ashiel was as light of foot as a wild roe. And Ashiel pursued after Abner, and in going he turned not to the right hand nor to the left from following Abner. Then Abner looked behind him and said, "Art thou Ashiel?" And he answered, "I am." 21. And Abner said unto him, "Turn thee aside to thy right hand or to thy left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men, and take thee his armor." But Ashiel would not turn aside from following of him. And Abner said again to Ashiel, "Turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? How then should I hold up my face to Joab thy brother?" Howbeit he refused to turn aside. Wherefore Abner with the hinder end of the spear smote him under the fifth rib, and the spear came out behind him, and he fell down there and died in the same place. And it came to pass that as many as came to the place where Ashiel fell down and died stood still. Joab also and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down when they were come to the hill of Ammah, that lieth before Giah by the way of the wilderness of Gibeon. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together after Abner, and became one troop, and stood on the top of an hill. Then Abner called to Joab and said, "Shall the sword devour forever? Knowest thou not it will be bitterness in the latter end? How shall it be then? Then thou bid the people return from following their brethren." 27. And Joab said, "As God liveth, unless thou hast spoken, surely then in the morning the people had gone up every one from following his brother." So Joab blew a trumpet, and all the people stood still, and pursued after Israel no more, neither fought they any more. And Abner and his men walked all that night through the plain, and passed over Jordan, and went through all Bethron, and they came to Mahanaim. And Joab returned from following Abner. And when he had gathered all the people together, there lacked of David's servants 19 men and Ashiel. But the servants of David had smitten of Benjamin and of Abner's men, so that 360 men died. And they looked up Ashiel and buried him in the sepulchre of his father, and was in Bethlehem. And Joab and his men went all night, and they came in Hebron at break of day. That was 2 Samuel chapter 2.
Okay. Got any comments out of that?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's look at it. So first of all, you know that Abner is the Lord of hosts for Saul. You know that?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. That's yes.
Abner is Saul's strong man. Just like Michael is the Yahweh strong man. But and so Saul dead now. So Abner got this big following. And then Saul is out of tribe of Benjamin. Okay, and so what we're looking at is the Lord of hosts used David, and the tribes are split by here. They split because of this. So when you look at David's life and what he did with David, he brought the 12 tribes together with David. Saul split them up. But anyway, so uh, so David is ruling over Judah, but this guy Abner, when Saul died, Saul's son, Abner went and got Saul's son and made him king. So the rest of the tribes, 10 tribes, and they even had Benjamin with them. They following after Saul's son. So it's a split going on. It's tension going on. So Joab is David's strong man. Did you know that?
Yes, sir.
So let's look at what happened. So if you get down to verse 18, it says, and there were 3 sons of Zerah there, Joab, the David's strong man, and Abishai and Asriel, they his brothers. All 3 of them brothers. And like I said, these ain't no regular men. They descendants from the giants. So anyway, so Asriel it's telling you how fast and how swift he was on his feet. It says Asriel was as light as a foot, and as a wild roe, which is a hart or like a gazelle. So he was swift. But Asriel is he admired Abner. He admired Abner. So when this little fight broke out right here, go back up to 15, then they arose and went over, okay. Abner said to Joab in 14, let the young men now arise and play before us. And Joab said, let them arise. So these musicians. 15, then they arose and went over by a number of 12 of Benjamin, and they pertained to Abishai, the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. And they caught everyone by his head, and thrust him till they killed him. So this the drama that was going on between them, right? And so when they got up and started leaving, Abner and them left. Joab's brother ran behind Abner. But look what happened. 19. Asriel pursued after Abner, and in going, he turned not to the right or nor to the left from following him. So he wants to be with him as far as one of his men. Then 20. Then Abner looked behind him and said, art thou Asriel? Because he asking him that because he know he's the brother of Joab and Abishai. So and he answered and said, I am it says, I am. And then Abner said unto him, turn thee aside to thy right hand or to thy left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men and take his armor. So he wanted him to, if you're going to follow me, then, you're going to have to kill one of them and take his armor. But Asriel would not turn aside from following him. And Abner said again to Abishai, turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground, right? So I want you to keep in mind the story I keep telling you about David and Uzi, right? So he says, Abner said again to Asriel, turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? And I'm going to show you how you smite somebody. So he said, I smite you to the ground. How then shall I hold up my face to Joab, thy brother? So he said, I'm gonna be able to deal. I can't be able to deal with Joab no more if dealing with you. So 23, howbeit he refused to turn aside. Wherefore Abner with the hinder, here you go, with the hinder end of his sword, smote him. This is how you smite a person. Under the 5th rib, that the spear came out behind him. So he's under, that's what the heart is. So he speared, and he fell down there and died in the same place. And it came to pass that as many as came to the place where Ashel fell down and died, they stood still. So when they came up, all the men passed by. When they got to Ashel laying there on the ground dead, they stopped. But this is my point. So the Lord of hosts told, and you tell me if this got anything to do with Christianity. So the Lord of hosts told Uzi, David's friend, he bring the ark out. Don't touch this ark. Don't nobody touch the ark. No matter what you do, don't touch it. They started down the road, and the ark hit a little bump, and it started shaking. Uzi reached out and touched it. And the Lord of hosts smote him. This is how you smote a person. Under the fifth rib. And he fall down to the ground. So you tell me what they got to do with the New Testament. It's the God over Israel. Let that frame make. Anyway, so Abner killed Joab's brother. And so they got in behind him, but when they got up on the hill, a bunch of people from Benjamin and soldiers came and helped Abner, so Abner got away. Joab had to let him go. But when this chapter ends right here, Abner told him he ain't through with him. He gonna avenge his brother. He's gonna eventually avenge his brother. Okay, so chapter 3. I read that to read this. So 6 sons born to David in Hebron, right? Now there was a long war. This was started the war right here. Chapter 2. There was a long war between the house of Saul. See that? So they split. Israel split because of this. Between the house of Saul and the house of David. David is already king over Judah alone and Levites. Okay, but David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker, and until David was sons born in Hebron, and his firstborn was Amon, and of Ahimana the Jezreelite, and his second Shilib of Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite, and the third Absalom, the wife of Maacah, the daughter of Tamar, king of Geshur, and the fourth Abijah, the son of Heti, and the fifth I can't say his name, Shimei, son of Abital, and the sixth Itrim by Egal, David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron. Okay, it says, and it came to pass while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, Abner, he the one killed Joab's brother, made himself strong for the house of Saul. And Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Elah, and Isabel said to Abner, wherefore hast thou gone in unto my father's concubine? Then said, so this girl is Saul's concubine, but Saul dead. And Abner is Saul, Lord of hosts. And now Abner came and backdoored Saul and sleeping with Saul's concubine. So his son got a problem with it. But he can't contend with Abner. Like I said, Abner was a mighty man. So 8, then was Abner very wroth because he fronted him. Abner was very wroth for the words of Isabel and said, am I a dog's head which against Judah do show kindness this day unto the house of Saul, thy father, to his brethren and to his friends, and I have not delivered thee into the hands of David, that thou chargest me today with the fault concerning this woman. And so God to Abner, let me see, so do God to Abner, and more also, except as the Lord has sworn to David, even so do I to him, to translate the kingdom from the house of Saul and to set up the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan even to Bathsheba. So the Lord had already came to Abner and already told him what he had to do. If all the people followed Abner, they're not following Saul's son. Abner the one got all the power. So the Lord already dealt with him. He just told us right here in verse 9, so do God to Abner, and more also except as the Lord have sworn to David. He know this, right? Got some Negroes that need to figure it out today. Even as so do I to him. So he said, just like the Lord has sworn to David, I have too. Okay. Then 10, to translate. He already swore to David to translate the kingdom from the house of Saul and set up throne of David over Israel and over Judah. So that's all 12 tribes, from Dan even to Bathsheba. It says, and he could not answer Abner a word again because he feared him. That's because Abner ain't nothing nice. 12, and Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf, saying, "Who remember what he'd done? Now he didn't kill Joab's brother already. Now he gotta go deal with David." It says, and Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf, saying, Who is the land? Saying also, make thy league with me, and behold, my hand shall be with thee, to bring about all Israel unto thee. And he said, well, I will make a league with thee, but one thing I require of thee, that is, that thou shalt not see my face, except thou first bring Michelle's, Saul's daughter, when thou comest to see my face. So you say, what's going on? Michelle is David's wife, but she left and went back to her father's house. And so David told him, yeah, we're gonna make the league, we're gonna do this thing, but when you come back, bring Michelle with you, right? Okay. So like I said, these mighty men, okay? These ain't your everyday men. 14, and David sent messages to Israel by Saul's son, saying, deliver me my wife, Michelle. She's his wife, to David's wife, which I espoused to me for 100 foreskins of the Philistines. So David had killed 100 Philistines that took their foreskin, brought them to Saul. Saul gave him Michelle, okay? But she left. She left, rebelled from David and went back to her father's house. And so it says, and Isabel sent and took her from her husband, even from Peter, I can't say his name, the son of Lish, and her husband went with her along, weeping behind her to Bittram. Then said Abner unto him, go, return. And he returned. And Abner had communications with the elders of Israel, saying, ye sought for David in times past to be king over you. Now, then do it, for the Lord hath spoken today of David, saying, by the hands of my servant David, I will save my people Israel out of the hands of the Philistines and out of the hands of all thy enemies. And Abner also spake in the ears of Benjamin, and Abner went also to speak to the ears of David in Hebron, all that seemed good to Israel, and that seemed good to the whole house of Benjamin. So Abner came to David to Hebron, and 20 men with him. And David made Abner and the men that were with him a feast. And Abner said unto David, I will arise and go, and I will gather all Israel unto my Lord, the king, that they may make a league with thee, and that thou mayest reign over all that heart desire. And David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. So here we go. So, you know, he killed Joab's brother. 22, and behold, the servants of David and Joab came from pursuing a troop, and brought in a great spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he was gone in peace. And when Joab and all the host that was with him were come, they told Joab, saying, Abner, the son of Ner, came to the king, and he hath sent him away, and he hath gone in peace. Then Joab came to the king and said, What hast thou done? Behold, Abner came unto thee. Why is it that thou hast not sent him away, and he is quiet gone? Thou knowest Abner, the son of Ner, that he came to deceive thee, and to know thy goings out and thy comings in, and knoweth all that thou doest. And when Joab was come out from David, he sent messengers after Abner, which brought him again from the well of Sirah, but David knew it not. And when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak with him quietly and smote him. Okay, I just showed you how you smart somebody. He smote him there under the fifth rib that he died for the blood of Asher, his brother. And afterwards, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are guiltless before the Lord forever, forever, from the blood of Abner, the son of Ner. Let it, let it rest on the head of Joab and on all his father's house, and let there not fall from the house of Joab one that have issue, or that is a leper, or that leaneth on the staff, or that falleth on the sword, or that lacketh bread. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, slew Abner because he had slain their brother Asher at Gibeon in the battle. And and David said to Joab and to all the people that were with him, rent your clothes and gird you with sackcloth and mourn before Abner. And King David himself followed the bride. Okay, and they buried Abner in Hebron. And the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept. And the king lamented over Abner and said, Died Abner as a fool's death. Thy hands were not bound, nor thy feet put into feathers, as a man falleth before the wicked men, so falleth thou. And all the people wept again over him. And when all the people came to cause David to eat meat while it was yet day, David swore, saying, So do God to me, and more also, if I taste bread or aught else, till the sun be down. And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them as whatsoever the king did pleased all the people. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it was not for the king to slay Abner or the son of Ner. And the king said unto his servants, Know ye now not that there is a prince and a great man fallen this day in Israel, and I am this day weak, though anointed king, and these men and the sons of Zerah be too hard for me. The Lord shall reward the doer of evil according to his wickedness. So that was 2 Samuel chapter 3. Anybody familiar with the story?
No, sir.
Okay. So yeah, you got learning something tonight. Um, I'm gonna read chapter 4. Somebody want to read chapter 4? Or do I? Am I want to read it? I'll read it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chapter 4, 2 Samuel. And when Saul's son heard that Abner was dead in Hebron, his hands were feeble, and all the Israelites were troubled. And Saul's son had two men that were captains of bands. The name of one was Baanah, and the name of the other one Rechah. And the sons of Raymon and Beerothite of the children of Benjamin, for Beeroth also was reckoned to Benjamin. And the Beerothites fled to Gittim and were sojourned there until this day. And Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son that was lame of his feet. He was 5 years old when the tidings came of Saul and Jonathan out of Jezreel. And his nurse took him up and fled. And it came to pass, as she made haste to flee, that he fell and became lame. And his name was, what is that? Mephibosheth. I'm butchering it up. And the
Right.
sons of Rimmon and Beerothite, Rechab and Pahana, went and came about the heat of the day to the house of Ishbosheth. One lay on a bed at noon, and they came thither into the midst of the house as though they would have fetched wheat. And they smote him under the fifth rib, and Rechab and Banahar his brother escaped. And when they came into the house, he lay on his bed in his bedchamber, and they smote him, and slew him, and beheaded him, and took his head, and gave them away through the plain all night. And they brought the head of Ishbosheth unto David to Hebron, and said to the king, Behold the head of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, thine enemy, which sought thy life. And the Lord hath avenged my lord the king his day of Saul and of his seed. Verse 9. And David answered Rechab and Baanah his brother, the sons of Rimmon and the Beerothite, and said unto them, As the Lord liveth, who have redeemed my soul out of all adversity. When one told me, saying, Behold, Saul is dead, thinking to have brought good tidings, I took hold of him and slew him into Ziklag, who thought that I would have given him a reward for his tidings. How much more than wicked men have slain a righteous person to his own house upon his bed? Shall I not therefore now require his blood of your hand and take you away from the earth? And David commanded his young men, and they slew them, and cut off their hands and their feet, and hanged them up over the pool in Hebron. But they took the head of Ishbosheth and buried it in the scepter of Ebner in Hebron.
Okay. So we see right here, we see that the Lord had already, if you go back and follow this story, he had already anointed Saul. He had already anointed David while Saul was still alive. And so from the time he anointed David till right here, he bringing everything to pass. Like I said, he continued to tell you that I spoke it and I'm performing. And we see him doing it right here in real time. He bringing all this stuff to pass. He coached Abner to go and make a league with David, and then he coached these two men right here to kill Israel, Saul's son, and brought the head to David. And so to bring the prophecy to pass. So let's look at the prophecy. That a lot of people don't know this, but I'm going to show you the prophecy. I go here all the time, but it's a good time to see me in it. So Numbers chapter 24. I read this the other day. Number 24. This the prophecy of Balaam. 14, 24 and 14. And now behold, I go on, this Balaam talking to Balaam. I go into my people. Come therefore, and I will advise thee what the people shall do to thy people in the latter days. It's what the Israelites are going to do to the Moabites. And he took up a parable, and he said, Behold, the son of Balaam, the son of Beer, have said, and the man whose eyes were open and have said, he have said, which heard the words of God, knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw in a vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. Then here you go, 17. I shall see him, David, but not now. I shall behold him, David, but not now. There shall come a star out of Jacob, David, and a scepter, king, shall arise out of Israel, and he shall smite the corners of Moab, and he shall destroy the children of the south. Edom shall be a possession, Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he, David, that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth in the city. So we see it coming to pass right here. And that's why the Lord of hosts says, I spoke it, and I'm gonna bring it to pass. I spoke it, I performed it, and I'm gonna bring it to pass. And we looking at it right here. What he told David, he's gonna be king. He made him the king, and we see all the things that's going on that's manifesting itself. And so it ain't nothing new with us. He's spoken that he's coming to get us and redeem us. So all you have to do is sit and watch, just like he did right here with David. He brought all these events up to pass and sit David right up there on the throne, like Balaam had prophesied. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna read 6 or 5. So it says, then came all the tribes. See that? Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Abraham. This is the Lord of hosts doing this, and spake, saying, behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. So what's so big about that? Okay, let's read it again. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto him, and spake, saying, behold, we are thy bones and thy flesh. That don't ring no bell for nobody? JC on the cross, right? Didn't they say take his robe and all that and divide it? But here go the bones and the flesh right here. This is what bone and flesh mean. David the king, the 12 tribes is his bone and his flesh. Anyway, let that friend make say. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou was he that led us out and brought in Israel. And the Lord said to thee, thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be a captain over Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and King David made a league with them in Hebron before the Lord. And they anointed King David over Israel. David was 30 years old. See that? 30 years old. Ain't that what JC was? David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years. And in Hebron, he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem, he reigned 30 and 3 years. 30 and 3 years over all
That's
Israel.
crazy.
You see that? Okay. Anyway, 6. And the king and his men went to Jerusalem unto Jebusites and the inhabitants of the land. We spake unto David, saying, except thou take away the blind and the lame, thou shalt not come in hither, thinking David cannot come in hither. So these are giants, children of the fallen angels, and they notice that they got all these defects on them. They blind, they lame, humpbacks, all that. So they challenge David that you can't come in here. 7. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, the same as the city of David. And David said, here we go. He's saying the opposite of what JC said. David said that day, whosoever getteth up to the gutter, smite the Jebusites, and the lame and the blind. He ain't healing nobody. The smited, the lame, and the blind that are hated of David's soul. David's soul hates the lame and the blind. He shall be chief and captain. Wherefore they said, the blind and the lame shall not come into this house. So David dwelt in the fort and called it the city of David, right? And David built around about him from Milo and inward. And David went on and grew great. And the Lord God of hosts was with him. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David and cedar trees and carpenters and masons, and they built David a house. And David perceived that the Lord had established him over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people Israel's sake. Here you go. So this him performing it right here. I mean, sealing the deal. And David perceived that the Lord had established him over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people Israel's sake. And David took him more concubines and wives out of Jerusalem after he was come from Hebron, and there were yet sons and daughters born to David. These be the names of those that were born unto him in Jerusalem: Sheba, Nathan, Solomon, Ibahar, also Elishu, Nephim, and Japheth, and I can't say these names, and Elishama, Elid, and Eliphaz. But when the Philistines heard that they had anointed David king over Israel, all the Philistines came and heard of it and went down to the hole. And the Philistines also came, spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim, and David inquired of the Lord, saying, "Shall I go up to the Philistines, which thou deliver them into my hands?" And the Lord said unto David, "Go up, for I will doubtlessly deliver the Philistines into thy hands." And David came to Baal Perazim, and David smote them there, and said, "The Lord hath broken forth upon mine enemies before me, as the breach of the waters." Therefore he called the name of the place Baal Perazim. And there they left their images, and David and his men burned them. And the Philistines came up yet again and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And when David inquired of the Lord, he said, "Thou shalt not go up, but fetch a compass behind them, and come upon them over against the mulberry trees. And let it be, when thou hearest the sound of the going in of the tops of the mulberry trees, that then thou shalt bestir thyself, for then shall the Lord go out before thee to smite the host of the Philistines." And David did so as the Lord had commanded him, and smote the Philistines from Geba even until it comes to Gaza. Okay, so let me explain this to you, because I don't think nobody really knows what's happening right here. So we know that the Lord of hosts is an angel, and the book of Enoch tells us he got the seven angels that he created in the beginning, and they did, that's who's fighting for the Israelites. Can't everybody can't see them. David sees them, and the prophets and the priests and all them see them, but Israelites don't see them unless they won't allow them to see them. So we saw that when they came up against the Amorites. I was reading the other day, the Lord was in front of them. He the one doing all of that. He doing all the damage. So he told David right here the first time when the Philistines came out and set up, he told David, "Go up and fight them." Then we get to verse 20. David came to Baal Perazim, and David smote them there and said, "The Lord has broken forth." See that? The Lord, not him. The Lord have broken forth upon them. So he right there. So he just went and started knocking them off. Him and these other six angels with him. I'll show you that in a minute. So the Lord hath broken forth upon my enemies. He looking at it before me as the breach of waters. Therefore he called the name of the place Baal Perazim, right? And then there they left their images. So these Philistines, they create images, carved images, like JC. He'll carve the image. Therefore he called the name of the place burial 21. And there they left their images, and his men burned them. Okay. Then 22. And the Philistines came up again and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. So check this out. 23. And when David inquired of the Lord, this time he asked him again. He said, "Shall I go up?" But the Lord told him, "Fetch a compass," right? behind them and come up over against them by the mulberry trees. Now watch this. And let it be when thou hearest the sound of the going in of the top of the mulberry trees. That's these angels. And then thou shalt bestir thyself, for then shall the Lord go out before thee and smite thee. So what are you talking about? You say, what are you talking about? Let's look at it. Make it plain. Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 9. Paint a picture for you. Ezekiel chapter 9 says right here. Okay, I'm tripping. All right, chapter 9. Okay. Chapter 9 says, verse 1. He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice. It's the Lord of hosts, saying, cause them, see that? Cause them to have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. So each one of these angels got a destroying weapon with them. And behold, 6 men, 1 and 6 is 7. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the iron gate, which lies toward the north, every man with a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them, clothed in linen, with a right acorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. So they're standing by the altar. These ain't no men. These 7 angels. So right here, same thing over here. He told him, he says, and David, 23, and when David inquired of the Lord, he said, thou shalt not go up, but fetch a compass behind them and come upon them over against the mulberry trees. And let it be, when thou hear the noise going on the top of the mulberry trees. I don't know no Negro that can walk on top of mulberry trees. He said, when you hear us over here, you can't see us, but when you see us, top of these mulberry trees moving, then you move in. And then I'm going to come in and knock them off. Okay? Let that ferment. Okay? So, anybody got any comments or anything before we vacate the premise? You can go back and read that. And, like I said, let it ferment.
Back in Second Samuel, when the Lord of hosts was preparing David, to be the king, and Abner, and then these giants, um, to kill them and take their heads. Was that something that was like some kind of showed something, or was it some kind of ritual or something? Because
That's what they do. That's what
sir,
they do as a people.
as people, okay.
Yeah, because when they cut the Saul's son head off and brought it to him, David
Right.
wasn't in that. David wasn't in that because he told him. He said the same guy that killed Saul, he came and brought Saul's crown and his bracelet, and he thought I was gonna give him a reward, but David killed him. And he said
Right.
same thing with you two. You done went into a man's house, in his house, and killed him on his bed, cut his head off, and you looking for a reward. He killed him.
Right.
He wasn't in there. That's something they do.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Everybody good?
I'm good, bro.
Well, what's up with you, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling, just dealing with a little bit, man. But I'm still here.
Okay, yeah.
Still here.
Glad to see you, bro.
Man, yeah, I've been missing the class. Been dealing with my brother. He's sick and stuff, and dealing with that, and trying to find this housing stuff for him do this, and because it's just us out here. So I'm trying to figure all this stuff out, man. And instead of going to work, I was sick the other day. I had a stomach virus, man, but I'm good now, so I'm back
Yeah.
up and running.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll say shalom, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow for our reading through tonight at 7. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, fam.
Okay.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.